All right, here we are. Today is December 17th, 2014, reflecting after today's visit from Upper Arlington Schools in Ohio. Their district is K-12, about 6,000 students, and also they had an executive team from Apple come in that was outside of Ohio and parts of Michigan, came on our visit. So which schools did we visit today, Jordan?
Today we started at Heritage and then traveled to Pershing and ended our day at Pershing today.
And what was our group like today? Tell me about what were they asking?
You know, Shannon, they're really asking about like the logistics and then how we got our one-to-one program set up, what it looked like across all the grade levels, what devices were in each classroom. I know that they were talking a lot about teaching, if you wanted to touch base on that as well.
Yeah, I felt like they were, especially during the debriefing, we had some student representatives attend the debriefing, and the visitors were asking the students, how has your teacher changed over this time and over the past 4 years, and what was the learning like before? And they talked a lot about, well, it used to be, actually the student said it was awful before. Adrian.
Terrible and terrifying.
Yes, that's what he said, is how it was before. But it was a whole group of administrators that attended the visit, and they were just really curious as to how we got our teachers to where we are right now, and the difference between what learning used to be like and what it's like today.
They wanted to know some advice for starting out, and I think John Smith said it really great from Heritage, and he said, start small and find something you feel really successful at, and then just continue adding to your toolbox, if you will, and add on as the one-to-one increases and continues on in your classroom.
Just like you do when you start student teaching, start student teaching all of the grades, all the subjects at the same time, kind of start in pieces. So that was great advice. So thank you for that, John. What were the visitors excited to see? So we're walking around in classrooms and across Heritage Middle School and Pershing Elementary. So what were they getting most excited about as they were visiting these classrooms?
They were most excited to see the culture. So they kept commenting in the hallways before we walk into a classroom, look, all the students are engaged. They're all on task. They really couldn't believe the level of involvement that the students had into their work that they were doing.
Yes.
And one of the students said it the best at the debrief, I think, as well. And Natalie said, I don't want to have my time stopped working because I want to keep going. And I want to keep working, and it's exciting, and I'm putting together a project and I'm creating. And that's exactly what the visitors were really impressed by seeing today.
So my group, this kind of will dive a little bit into the shout outs. I got to give a shout out to Louise Daly and Daiquiri EDU. Thank you, Drew and Brad. They were just mesmerized by the augmented reality piece that was hanging in the hallway, all of this interactiveness that was going around in the school. So not even talking to kids, they downloaded the Daiquiri app, and we were in Louise Daly's art classroom. This is an art teacher, and she has this hanging on her wall. It's the word of the week. And you take Daiquiri and you scan the word of the week, and a video pops up explaining, it's a student, a fifth grader, explaining in Telegami what that word means for the week. Now these posters are hanging all across the building. But the way that Louise was showing our visitors, so she had kindergartners in her classroom at the time, so all of our visitors couldn't huddle around the board that we were looking at, so she used her Apple TV to mirror the augmented reality experience that was happening on her device up to the TV. And the visitors were just in shock. So immediately they downloaded the Daiquiri app, and now we're walking all around Pershing, finding things to scan, which we were able to scan interactive posters in Mike Saraceni and Chrissy Lukasowicz's co-taught classroom. So the visitors were just so excited about the augmented reality experiences that were going on using the Daiquiri app.
Another shout out I have is to Scott Lavero over at Pershing. as soon as we walked in, it was the first classroom that we got to see in the elementary, and this is a group of middle school and high school administrators. So for them to walk into an elementary classroom was exciting, and then also they kept asking me, what grade is this? Are you sure this is third grade? I'm like, yes, this is third grade. And they were just so floored by what they were using, because they were using the free version of Google SketchUp, which is fairly new, and Google SketchUp Make, I believe is what it's called. And they were creating their own fractions and then explaining them as a class, and then splitting off and doing it by themselves. And they were just, again, going back to that engagement, very engaged in the fraction making. And then my other shout out is to James Larson. I know we didn't get to hang out too long in your classroom, James, so I'm sorry, but the time that we got to spend in there was really incredible. They were making interactive and collaborative timelines of World War II using Google Slides, and the whole class was working at the same time, and it was all about understanding World War II and everything behind that. So next time we'll definitely have to stay in there for longer, because that was a great little snippet we got to see.
James always has a wonderful handout too.
Oh,
Whenever
yeah.
we have visitors, he makes this whole handout for us, and everybody is so appreciative, and everyone's like glued to like reading it when we walk out. So
gives you directions on how to use certain programs. It's really great.
I loved it. My final shout out from the middle school goes to music plus teacher Tom Faust. It is always a pleasure walking into his classroom, because you just never know what the kids are going to be doing. But this particular project, he was sharing examples that they had just finished. The students were directed with a challenge of redoing a music video, but they could choose to make up their own, change the lyrics and make up their own song in GarageBand, but have the video of the real music video like behind it. Or they could have the real lyrics to the song and make their own video. It was so cool, because the whole unit was revolving around pop culture. So the kids, the samples that he made were just awesome. This footage, I can't remember the song now that was playing, but the footage that was playing in the background, the kid used that footage out of his house, and with some friends. Oh, and Adrian was in it, and he was like strumming the guitar. What song was that? I don't know. It was great.
I can't remember.
It was great. But then what also he had, Tom showed us, is that back in the classroom, some kids that had made some really cool makey projects. And I have some good video footage I'll post of kids using the makey, and it was like touching different strings on this drawing, and it was making noise, musical noise. It was awesome. So Tom, always a pleasure to bring visitors into your classroom.
And then we want to say a big thank you to all of the attendees at our briefing. So Sue Butler and Marilyn McManus, thank you for coming, as well as Mike Saracini, John Smith as the teachers, Jasmine and Natalie, the 5th graders from 5SL at Pershing, and Nadrian Fiesta from Heritage, and of course Dr. Fields. So thank you for all that you did at the debriefing today.
And I especially just want to end with an extra thank you to the principals, Sue Butler and Marilyn McManus, as well as your staff for hosting this week. Today is Wednesday, the 2 days before winter break. A lot of kids are out with the flu this week, so we really appreciate, and even with winter break coming and kids sick, there was so much engagement and so much happening in the buildings, and it was just a really, really good day for a site visit. So I'd like to thank you for your extra time in helping plan to get this visit ready for our visitors. They were overwhelmingly impressed with what they saw today. So in closing, we're going to end with our favorite site visit quotes. So which one was yours?
So my favorite was, the kids were so engaged that I felt like asking them questions was disruptive. And then he put, this is a good thing. So I thought that was a really great way to sum up, again, coming back to the engagement of the students.
I love it. I love it. My favorite quote was, I think the debriefing was the best part of the day. It was great to reframe what we saw and have the ability to ask questions. So our visitors really do appreciate sitting down and reflecting on the day and hearing from the different aspects, from the principal to the teacher to the student now and coaches. So until next time, we will see you next year with our next site visit.
Bye.